Alright, this is the third time I'm recording this. Okay. I'm gonna show in this video how to build a ducking chain with VCV rack that kind of looks like this. And it sounds like this. Essentially, what we are doing is we are routing a MIDI signal to a track that's receiving a bunch of audio as a send, and we are basically applying this chain on top of it, which is basically it takes a MIDI note, uses the rising edge of the gate, which is basically to retrigger output to drive an AD, but we don't use the A part of it. That triggers an AD, flips the envelope over, and this envelope modulates the amplitude of the incoming signal, and we get MIDI control ducking. So we're gonna do this from scratch on another project that I did something much simpler as a demonstration. So we kind of have a kick and another thing right here. So we want to duck the audio that's coming out of this track to the kick signal that's coming out of here. So the first thing that might be interesting to do before we touch any effect is to basically map out the kick to the MIDI note to all of these kicks. So I'm just gonna enable offset overlapping MIDI items vertically. So it might be interesting to make these not overlap. Okay. And we are gonna draw in a MIDI item, and we are gonna put any note on it, and we're just gonna apply that to every single one of those kicks. Can we I thought we could replace the bass over it, but it's okay. We can just redo the pattern in another track right here. So we're gonna group these, hold and press G, do this. Alright, so audio is coming out of this track along with the MIDI note that we're gonna use as a trigger. So we're gonna pull a new track, gonna put it at the top, and we're gonna name it duck send. And so we're gonna start building the chain. We're gonna bring here VCV rack, and we're gonna we need an AD. I like Vish model from Bog Audio. A dual VCA, this one will do. Enable the linear mode, disable the gate to trigger, and put on a rescaler from VCV rack itself, And so we can see more or less what's going on, we're gonna use a merge. We're gonna use a polyphonic merge. We're gonna use two of the only. We're only gonna use two of these anyway in the scope. So we're gonna the inputs of this VCA are gonna receive or the audio that this track is receiving. And we are gonna crank the bass level all the way up, and our CV is gonna be the output of this AG module. On the AG module, we're gonna turn to raise the rise time all the way down, and we're gonna set the minimum gate to like 0.4. We can set this to whatever later on, and we're gonna bring the fall time down a little. And now the output of the each one of these VCA channels corresponds to each channel that we are bringing in audio. And finally, the CV is in the wrong place. We need that to come out of rescale. You're gonna see why in a sec. The out here comes into the input of the rescale. Of the AD comes into rescale, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring in the output so we can see more or less what's happening. We're gonna offset it by 10 volts, and we're gonna set the gain all the way to negative 100%. And the polyphonic output of this merge is gonna go to the second input, and we are gonna link the outputs of the VCA to this merge 8. So we are gonna route the MIDI that's coming from this track here, so we can see what is being received at this here. Wait. Oh yeah, the gate is of this dish is the retrigger of the MIDI CV. You can adjust the curve as much as you'd like, but we need the audio coming in. So we're gonna route our MIDI track here to the send, duck send track that we've just made, and it's not gonna receive any MIDI from here. And now we should have the audio from this track coming in here, and its amplitude is gonna be modulated by the curve that these MIDI notes are triggering. It's also important to note that we need to disable the master send channels from and to here. So there's also a quirk of VCV Rack when you use it as a plugin. That is like you have a track that's sending audio and MIDI, and like the MIDI doesn't come in this track. what's happening is that, for example, like use VCV rack to apply some compression onto this kick. It's not sending any MIDI. So how do we fix it? Like, you click onto Stu 16 out here, like the I/O panel of the track. The Reaper calls this like pin connector. Click I/O, MIDI output merges with MIDI bus. I don't know why it works, but basically, I think it makes like VCV rack instance not eat up the MIDI output that the MIDI signals that's supposed to be passed through the plugin. So that's it. That's effectively how you make this. So if you want to use this later on, you can just like right click it, save as a track template, and kind of whatever, VCV duck send, and you can just bring it in with insert from template, VCV duck send, and there you have it. Now you can start routing MIDI in here and the audio that I want to duck, and it's just gonna work.